Once upon a time, in a land not so far away, there lived a clever crow named Carl. Carl was known throughout the forest for his sharp wit and even sharper beak. He had a knack for getting himself into and out of trouble, often with a witty remark that left everyone chuckling. One sunny afternoon, while on one of his many adventures, Carl found himself feeling quite parched. As he flew over the fields, he spotted something shiny in the distance, a water jug. His beady eyes sparkled with excitement as he swooped down to investigate. But alas, when he arrived, he found that the jug was not as friendly as it looked. It was a tall, narrow jug with a tiny bit of water sitting at the bottom, mocking him from afar. Carl stretched his neck and poked his beak inside, but his beak couldn't reach the water. He flapped his wings in frustration. Oh great, just my luck. A water jug with a water tease. Looking around for help, he spotted his friends, a bunch of chatty squirrels perched on a nearby tree. He called out, "Hey, furry friends! Any bright ideas on how I can quench my thirst?" The squirrels, being more interested in acorns than in problem solving, just chuckled and said, "Why don't you just stick your head in and drink?" Carl rolled his eyes. Oh sure, because that's exactly how physics works. Then he had a light bulb moment, an idea that was as bright as the sun above. He remembered hearing about a clever trick he had seen once in a book, using stones to raise the water level. If only I had a few stones, he thought, looking around for anything that might help. To his delight, he noticed some pebbles scattered on the ground nearby. With a flap of his wings, he began to pick up the pebbles one by one and drop them into the jug. Each splash of a pebble made him giggle. Look at me, I'm a pebble-dropping pharaoh. As he dropped the first stone, the water level rose just a tad, barely enough to tease him further. But Carl was undeterred. He kept at it, chuckling at his own persistence. After several more pebbles and maybe a few too many giggles, the water level finally rose high enough for him to take a sip. With a satisfied gulp, Carl exclaimed, "Eureka! I've done it! I'm a genius!" Feeling triumphant, he flew up to his squirrel friends and declared, "Behold the power of ingenuity! Water, sweet water!" The squirrels stared in disbelief. All that fuss over a little water? "It's not about the water, my furry friends," Carl replied with a wink. "It's about the journey." And with that, he took another sip, savoring the taste of victory. But the lesson didn't end there. Carl decided to share his wisdom with the forest. He gathered all the animals, big and small, to tell them about his water adventure. As he regaled them with his tale, the animals laughed at his antics and cheered his cleverness. The moral of the story is, Carl announced dramatically, when life gives you a narrow jug, don't just complain, use your brain. The animals erupted in applause. Hooray for Carl the clever crow. But then a wise old turtle in the back raised a brow and said, "But what if I'm too slow to gather pebbles?" Carl scratched his head. "Well, then you might just have to wait for the rain." The crowd burst into laughter again, and Carl gave a nod of approval. See, even waiting can be a solution. Just don't forget your umbrella. From that day on, Carl became the unofficial philosopher of the forest, known for his humorous yet insightful lessons. He taught everyone that sometimes the simplest solutions are just a pebble away. And whenever someone faced a problem, they would look at each other and say, "Just think like a crow." And that, my friends, is how a clever crow and a narrow jug taught a whole forest the importance of thinking outside the box. So next time you face a challenge, remember Carl the crow, and maybe gather a few pebbles of your own.